Revelation 20, verse 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away. And there was no place found for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open. And another book was open, which was the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to his works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. At the end of Revelation 20, finally, after the sin problem has run its course, God deals finally in justice and in wrath with the unsaved dead. And he also deals with the devil and his angels, his fallen angels. And it says he cast them into the lake of fire. And it's sad because as he sits on this great white throne, it symbolizes his purity. That God is pure, God is holy, and God is righteous. And as he says there, it says that the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was no place found for them. Peter comments on this, and he tells us that the elements will eventually melt with the fervent heat and just dissolve. And what the book of Revelation is telling us here is this, is that God is holy, and there's going to be a final judgment one day. And God's going to be glorified in his wrath. He's going to be glorified in his justice, just as much as he's glorified in his love and his grace on the vessels of mercy. Now these, unfortunately, are the vessels of wrath, Romans 9 tells us, fitted to destruction. Now he tells us this, that there were books open. The book of life was open. And if a person's name wasn't found written in the book of life, they were cast into the lake of fire. And it says this fire and this hell is eternal. It's not just temporary. It doesn't just burn up. Now it's a somber moment. It's somber thinking about it. Now we need to remember, anybody who contorts the gospel of Jesus Christ, and people want to say things like, well, why did God have to let that happen to his son? And, you know, there's not really a hell. Those things aren't going to happen one day. And I'm going to say, well, then Jesus died on the cross for no reason at all if we can just get to heaven on our own. Or if Jesus died on the cross for no reason at all if when we die we just go in the ground. No, Jesus died on the cross because we were saved by God, but we were saved from God. And we need to remember this, and we need to be thankful for what God has done for us, because we all deserve this. We're all sinners before a holy God, but because of his great love wherewith he loved us, he rescued us. Jude tells us he snatched us out of the fire. And we need to do our part. We need to do our part, ministering to the body of Christ so they in turn can tell others about Christ. We need to do our part telling others about Christ. We need to do what we need to do because Jesus saved us from this place, deserved wrath, and gave us undeserved life and grace and mercy